This video is brought to you by PlayAsia. Get 5% off every order via the link below. Hey guys, and welcome back to another CG news video. As usual, in today's video we'll be taking a look back at some of the news that has been going on recently and not covered in its own individual video. First up, we have an update on the DayZ situation in Australia, which is something that the channel took a look at only yesterday and it's already got some important new details about. I've added a pinned update in that video's comments, and to summarise, Kotaku Australia has now received information that confirms that yes, the game was indeed refused classification in the country due to what the Australian rating system calls illicit or prescribed drug use related to incentives or rewards. Furthermore, despite an earlier comment made by the devs where they stated that this would only affect the upcoming physical version of DayZ and that the game was still available via Steam, the Australian Classification Board has said that they will be working to have the game pulled from sale digitally in Australia as well. It remains to be seen what will ultimately happen here, as it's always possible that the devs may patch the game to remove any content that has led to the refused classification decision. This is something that Censored Gaming will of course make sure to keep an eye on, but for now at least it appears that Australian gamers will no longer be able to buy the game within the country. Aside from that, we have some news on Grand Theft Auto Online and some new content that has been added to the game that's ran into issues in quite a few countries around the world. In the game's new update, a wide array of content has been added to the game, and this includes casinos, where players can go and take part in many different gambling activities. The gambling is done via the game's regular currency and it's not possible to win real money. However, real money can still be used to buy the in-game currency. Due to different gambling regulations around the world, the gambling related content has been completely blocked in more than 50 countries. It's possible that for some of the countries included, perhaps this was a case of Rockstar being overly cautious rather than the content definitely not being allowed. There's far too many to be able to list them all here, but this includes countries like Portugal, Greece, Poland and Argentina. When a player tries to access the gambling related content from one of these countries, they will receive an error message saying that the feature is not available. And so whilst players from these regions can still access some of the other new content, such as new cars, this leaves a large portion of the new update unavailable for a significant amount of players. Next up, we have some news on the upcoming Nintendo Switch launch in China. The release date has yet to be announced, but details on the Chinese version of the console are starting to pour in, and this includes details on a new Rabbids game that is being developed by Ubisoft China for the Chinese market. Titled Rabbids Adventure Party, the game is a party game and sees the Rabbids travel back in time to ancient China and is inspired by the classic novel Journey to the West. It's possible that this is something that could eventually be localized for other markets around the world, but for the time being, the game is a Chinese Nintendo Switch exclusive that is being closely designed for the Chinese market and looks to be possibly be a planned launch title for the console. Then there's been some big news for Amiga Labyrinth Life, which is a series that has run into all kinds of censorship related issues around the world due to its suggestive content. The dungeon crawling RPG was said to be not releasing over in the West. However, only a week before release in Japan and Southeast Asia, an official Western release was suddenly announced to be coming at the same time. This is a very unusual situation, but the game is indeed now available in Western regions too. It's worth pointing out though that the Western releases are only available digitally. The Southeast Asia version is also available physically, and there is a limited edition physical version too. The Southeast Asia version, which you can find linked in the description, contains full English language options, just like the Western releases, and so this is something you may wish to keep in mind. And then finally, aside from the Amiga Labyrinth news, we have some other news regarding video game imports and getting games that aren't available over here in the West. First up is Coal Mecca, a fast-paced 2D platformer with multiplayer features that's available on Steam worldwide and digitally on the PlayStation Store in Japan. Interestingly, whilst the digital PlayStation version isn't currently available in the West, the Japanese version does contain English language support. However, that's not all. It's recently been announced that the game will be getting an exclusive physical release in the Southeast Asia region, and this again contains full English language support. And so this is something that fans of physical versions of games may wish to keep in mind. Priced at $23.99, PlayAsia will be shipping copies next month on September 13th, and you'll be able to find a link in the description if you're interested. And then for another physical release that's not available in the West, PlayAsia has confirmed that the Japanese Nintendo Switch release of Dead Old School will contain full English language options, which is an action game with detailed anime styled graphics. It's scheduled to be released at the end of the month on August 29th, and so again this is something you may be interested in and you'll be able to find linked in the description below. What are your thoughts on these stories this week? As always, please let us know your thoughts in the comments below and consider subscribing to see more videos on regional differences in video games. Until next time, thank you for watching.